this is the end result.
So out at the new place, the farm slash homestead that doesn't have a house on it yet, it doesn't have a mailbox because it doesn't have a house on it yet. And so there's no street numbers. And if you follow the street numbers, because all the mailboxes are on one side of the road, it's very confusing. So I went to the big box store and bought one of these, which has a set of reflective numbers. And a nice reflective green plate. And my thought was, after consideration, there's the kitty. That's our mama kitty. She can't have more babies, but she's still our mama kitty. She's a sweetheart. Is that with all these numbers, and with this thing having the reflective coating on both sides, that I would put numbers down both sides, but I needed something to attach this to in a vertical manner. Since I'm too cheap to buy the stand that comes with the address sign, I'm going to use this thing, which is 48 inches long and an inch square. And it has these little slots in them, and I have several of these from my in-laws' retail business. And you can see this one has already been used in the dirt. We used it in the garden, pounded it in, and it probably stayed in the ground for over a year, and it looks reasonable. This is galvanized. I think it looks galvanized, and I'm gonna cut it off, and then we'll pound it in the ground and mount a sign to it. Purr. You just want to chew on me. You're gonna take off as soon as I start grinding on stuff, aren't you? Alright, so after a little deliberation, I'm going to cut this at a 45 on each side, and I decided to do this on the slotted side. So I've got solid on the back where the rest of the tip or point will be that I drive into the ground. I could probably leave it square, but making some noise and some sawdust, in this case metal shavings, makes me feel a bit more productive. Got a cutting wheel in my angle grinder, and I've got the piece clamped down to the table with some hearing protection, and time to tear it up. So here you can see I'm cutting a triangle out of each side to make a point. My posture is not the best here because I was concentrated on filming it. About halfway through, I decided not to cut off the long tail piece that would result from these two little triangles. And instead, I pounded it over to make a more of a solid surface, so to move the dirt away from the pole itself versus going inside of the pole. Also, during my explanation, I failed to change the mode of my camera, so I did it in time-lapse where I'm explaining that I hammered it over, and this is where we are. So that's where this thing comes in. So I can attach it like that, and you can see the numbers on this side, and you should be able to see all the numbers on this side. I'll just focus on one side. This will be the side that faces oncoming traffic, and this will be the side that sees opposing traffic from the opposite side of the road. Don't really care if they see it or not. Why is this a big deal? Well, let's see. When the Connex was delivered, there was no street number. When I had somebody come over to give me an estimate on grading for the shop, there's no street number. And that poor guy passed the house, passed me and the driveway at least 3 times until I flagged him down. He was calling me, and I was waving him down, and yada yada. So this should help mark that so people can find me. Us, it, that, we, thing. So I'm going to be a tiny bit lazy. And I have lined up this hole with slot. And I've done the same thing on this end. And the self-tapping screws that I have will go through there. Why am I doing this? I'm just going to give it a shot and see how sturdy it is. I've already run one of the self-tapping screws in and it seemed to hold fine. So I'm going to go ahead and mount the plate on the bar and just see if it needs any additional strength or if this will work. There you go. That should do the job for now. Now to put numbers on it. Seems pretty sturdy. I didn't crank down on these too much. It's got enough thread. I could put another one through here. But even if I push on it, you get that much daylight through there. And if we have winds that strong, then I'm not really concerned about this blowing away as much as I am, a house or a person or a car. There's the mama kitty again. She's making her rounds, her laps. I really prefer collars with buttons on them, but this is quite comfortable. Anyway, so I'm going to do the numbers off camera because you don't need to know the street address. Unless I invite you over and then I'll tell you the street address. So anyway, here we go. So there it is. Installed. It's a little wonky because there are rocks in the ground, and when you hammer it in, they move all over the place. So good enough. It's more than what was here because there was nothing here before. So now it should be visible from both sides of the road. Both sides of the road, yes. Going north and south, or east, west, whatever the direction is. And it's visible. It's reflective. Hopefully they'll see it before they get to the driveway, which I'm standing in. We'll see. Okay, now it's right. Because when I put the numbers on the reverse side, I put the post over the numbers. Now it's right. Leave it to your wife to point out your flaws and imperfections, as few as they may be. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it.
Too many hobbies, not enough time.
It's a theme song, y'all.